Welcome to the latest episode of the Forecast in 5. I'm your host, Seth Katz. Joining us today is Stacy Stemen. Stacy serves as Senior Vice President, Corporate Marketing and Development with Passco Companies. In this capacity, Stacy oversees all aspects of marketing, public relations, special events, conferences, and business development. She has responsibility for spearheading the development of the Passco brand and manages its strategic growth on a national basis. Stacy has over 20 years of experience as a real estate industry marketing professional, during which time she has worked at several national real estate companies. Welcome, Stacy. Appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you, Seth. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, let's get started with some questions. Passco is a real estate investment company specializing in the acquisition, development, and management of multifamily and commercial properties throughout the United States. Over the years, Passco has become a leading provider of 1031 exchange real estate investment opportunities. Can you share with our viewers exactly what a 1031 exchange is and why is it important?
Sure. Great question. Everybody around the world has been hearing 1031 exchanges for decades. And we jumped on that opportunity back in the early 90s with our founder, Bill Passco. But what a DST, or Delaware Statutory Trust, means, a 1031 exchange means that if you have an investment property, so let's say you own multifamily property and it's 4 units, you're tired of owning it, managing it, you want to actually trade it and invest it with somebody who has a syndicated deal for you to invest in, meaning you want to defer the capital gains, you don't want to pay taxes. A DST 1031 exchange is a perfect avenue for someone like you. What it means is investing in a like-kind asset. And by that, I mean any of the real estate out there. So that whether you have land, multifamily, industrial, retail, any of the asset classes qualify as a like-kind exchange. So you could invest, you have a retail asset, you want to go into multifamily, you can do so. DSTs have become a very popular avenue for people to invest in. We have been a leading sponsor in the 1031 exchange market since the mid-90s. And it's ironic, we actually used to be in retail and then kind of morphed into the multifamily space back in 2004 when we saw that as a very lucrative market in the multifamily space. Since then, we have acquired, we're currently sitting at about 4 billion assets under management, and multifamily has just been our sweet spot. We love multifamily. We find it to be a very lucrative asset class to invest in. So
Very, very helpful.
Yeah.
In 2003, Paso purchased the Puente Hills Mall in City of Industry, California, and this was the largest 1031 transaction to date. For those who aren't familiar, this shopping center was already a part of history even before it was involved in a landmark real estate deal. It stood in for the fictional Twin Pines Mall in the 1985 movie Back to the Future, marking the spot where Marty McFly and Doc Brown began their trip back in time in a DeLorean. Would you be able to reflect on this deal and how it contributed to the reputation that Paso has earned as an industry leader?
Yes, this is actually one of my favorite deals to talk about. Back in the day, as I previously mentioned, Bill Passco, he had an idea for a tax deferral exchange method. And so he was one of the first pioneers to invent this structure. Back then, it was called the tenant in common structure. And he had this idea to do this. So in 1994, he actually went to DC and pitched the idea of the tenant in common structure, which then was adopted across the world, the nation, but we found an opportunity to invest in the Puente Hills Mall back in 2003. It came for sale. We thought perfect opportunity to use this TIC option as an investment. Bought it in 2003 for $148 million. In 2005, we saw the upside there, so we sold it for $171 million. So the return to the investors was very lucrative. The tenant in common structure has shifted over the years. There are some people still using the TIC method. However, most people have migrated over to the DST structure. But what's very unique about that Puente Hills Mall, it really put us on the map. It put us on there because, number one, it was this unique investment strategy that nobody had really heard of. People started investing with sponsors like us. back from I'd say probably like 1998 to 2004 was when everybody started to get into it, even up through 2008. And then the economic downturn happened, and there were about 70 sponsors in the space, went down to about 4 sponsors because not everyone knew how to do them. Not everyone was being transparent, I would say, with their investors. And so we just outlasted that cycle. We've actually gone through 4 different real estate cycles with the 1031 exchange model. It's become very lucrative. We are one of the leading sponsors in the space who does the 1031 exchanges. It's just we're the go-to in that space. Over the years, we've had over 16,000 investors come through one or multiple of our offerings. So, and then something unique with the time machine, I actually met the guy. His name is Adam Contras, and he's in LA area. He owns the exact replica time machine from the movie that was filmed in 1985 at the Puente Hills Mall. So I reached out to him, and for the 30-year anniversary of Back to the Future, I rented the car, took it to ICSC, which is the big shopping center conference in Las Vegas. And I had the time machine in our booth celebrating 30 years of retail history. And it was just amazing. Everybody came and saw it. And then fast forward to our 25th year anniversary at Passco, I got the same DeLorean and took my entire staff up to the Puente Hills Mall. We saw the same property manager who's still there today. And we took a tour through the Puente Hills Mall, and everybody got to take their picture in the time machine. So it was very cool.
And I'm sure that was a lot of fun.
Yes, yes.
Technology has evolved in myriad ways since Pasco's founding, and this has impacted both tenants and property managers, especially if we're looking at the multifamily real estate space. What are some ways that technology has allowed you to streamline operations while improving the tenant experience?
Wow. Technology is the hot topic anywhere you go right now in real estate conference world. I'm actually not at a show right now. It's the National Apartment Association that's taking place in Las Vegas. But technology is important. If you don't adapt, you're going to be left behind. So some things that Passco has developed over the past few years. Number one is we launched what's called Core, meaning we have decided to centralize our administrative tasks from the property level, mainly enabling the property management who's on site, the leasing staff, to focus on the residents, to not lose sight of the personal human aspect. So all the admin tasks have been taken and absorbed by a staff that we've implemented here at Passco. They handle all the renewals, the leases, everything like that. The other thing that's become really popular is AI. Everybody's talking about AI and how does it kind of fit into the multifamily realm. You'll notice on any website you go to, if you're searching for an apartment to live in, there's a chat bot. And it's usually on the home screen, and you can go through from A to Z, from looking at the property, taking a virtual tour, to signing your lease, to actually moving in. You do not have to see a single person. I'm not 100% on board with that because I still love that human element. However, that has become kind of the wave of the future. There is a market for that. The other thing that we have a system called Revolution RE. We have some very, very talented analysts who thought of this structure. So our entire portfolio is rolled up into this software. So at any given time, you can look on the software and see where our portfolio is at compared to our PPM projections, where it is to the NOI, what we're telling our investors. It's a snapshot at any given time of what's going on so that we know how to increase rents, decrease rents, figure out the concessions that are happening at our properties and so forth. So that is something that we actually rolled out the end of last year. One last thing that I found quite interesting, they just launched, there's a company out there that just launched the first multifamily robot. The robot's name is Donna, and Donna can do everything from maintenance requests to leasing tasks. So I think that's where the future is going to be. We're going to have robots, hopefully not replacing the human element, though.
Really good examples. Since we have a number of Anderson students watching and many will pursue careers in commercial real estate, why is the multifamily space an area in particular that aspiring leaders should strongly consider specializing in?
Sure. I am a huge proponent of multifamily. It's one of the I'm very passionate about speaking about it and actually mentoring undergrads and MBA students across the board. I myself went to Cal State Fullerton, so I have done plenty of speaking engagements there. I also do a lot with the UCI school, the Paul Mirage School of Business down here. And I host what's called an executive roundtable, where I invite top leaders from Orange County, and they come in here and I invite the students to ask them questions that they would never be able to ask in an interview. It's the behind the scenes raw footage from these executives on how to obtain a job. What classes might they be taking to get into the industry? And it is really multifamily focused. I believe that multifamily is multifaceted, if you would. There are so many different outlets and job opportunities in multifamily, whether you're interested in getting into acquisitions, due diligence, title, I call it the client partner side or the vendors. There's so many different avenues. You could also be on the development side, the renovation side. Um, it's an industry that continues to thrive, whereas many other asset classes have, they've seen dips and everything, but there's always going to be a need for places to live, whether it's in workforce housing, high rise, garden style, primary, secondary, or tertiary markets. Multifamily is here to stay. And it's one of those investment opportunities that I think everybody will continue to love. And I find that is the case when I talk to a lot of the MBA students out there. Multifamily is typically the asset class that they want to get into.
Definitely a lot of opportunity in the multifamily
Yeah.
space, and you made that clear. Passco has a national presence, and that includes having properties in larger states, including Texas and Florida. Are there specific geographic markets where Passco has seen growth and anticipated continued expansion over the next few years?
Yeah, I always say Pasco likes to smile. We are very, very hot in the Sun Belt area. We chase yield. We chase states that have the tax incentives, meaning Texas, Florida have always had that tax initiative for us. Florida has become a little bit more difficult as far as acquiring properties, mainly because of the insurance hikes that have been occurring. It has become very expensive. However, I will point out we have a property in Key West. It's called Ocean Walk, and it has generated the highest rents and rent growth across our entire portfolio. So that's actually very commendable for that area. We are also looking at several properties in some new areas of Florida, Stuart, Florida, Vero Beach, along that side. We also have quite a few in Destin, which is like a hot spot. People like to vacation there. They also like to live there. But in addition to Florida and Texas, we have found like states like Kentucky and New Hampshire. And I'm going to go into why those two states. We actually have been buying close to the state line. So meaning, Cincinnati, Ohio is here. We're buying just over the border because people don't want to live necessarily in Cincinnati, but they want to live in the Kentucky proper area. And so they're commuting from our properties into their job in the city. Same with New Hampshire. They're not living in Boston because it's more expensive to live in Boston. So they're going to the outskirts, going to New Hampshire. So we really chase healthcare, job growth, job migration. And then we also go for very strong school systems. We found that to be very lucrative. But we stay true to our investing in the Class A multifamily, primarily in the secondary markets.
Well, sounds great. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thanks so much for your time, Stacy.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Of course. And thanks to all our viewers for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode of the Forecast in 5.